Hello, tank mechanics. In this video, I want to have a look at the roadmap we got from the developers. If you remember the previous roadmap, you'll notice that we got some serious changes. If you don't remember the previous one, don't panic, I'm going to show you the differences. Stage 5 is now Stage 1. And Stage 2 is now Stage 4. What? Stage 5 got priority? The answer is yes. That means that the players will get the almighty Sherman tanks way sooner than expected. We're talking about 5 types of Shermans. 5 new tanks will be added to the game in the form of a paid DLC. Those tanks will be the M4A1 Sherman, which is an early production model. The M4 Sherman, which is a mid-production model. The M4A2 Sherman, which is a late production model. The M4A3E2 Jumbo and the T34 Calliope. These 5 new tanks will come with 3 new engines. The Wright Continental R975C1. This engine was used in the early, mid and Calliope models. The General Motors 6046, which was used in the late models, and the M10, which is already in the game. The Ford GAA. This engine was used in the Jumbo, and in the E8, which is already in the game. There will also be one new gearbox introduced, the Spicer Synchro Mesh gearbox. This gearbox exists out of 105 elements. Let's head back to the roadmap. In Stage 1, you can now see the previous Stage 5 content, which is all about the Sherman tanks we just mentioned. When we have a look at SteamDB, we can see that changes were made about 17 hours ago. We can also see that the next, upcoming DLC, already got added to the Steam database. Everything that needs to be present on a Steam store page, got added already. We're talking about screenshots, a video, social media information from the developers, the DLC's categories, and much more. What do we know so far? We know that all of the new Sherman tanks are currently under heavy QA testing. If all goes well, the players won't have to wait too long to get their hands on this second DLC for the game. The DLC will get released together with the major free update 1.4.0. But what other changes can players expect with this update? To start, there will also be changes to the M4A3E8 Sherman, and the M10 Wolverine. These tanks got an overhaul, as well as an updated interior, and a new engine. Together with the just mentioned changes to those tanks, there will also be refreshed museum stands, and posters for them. As last point on the agenda, the players will get some performance optimizations. The developers implemented a new system that can significantly increase in-game performance, without compromising on quality. This optimization is called dynamic occlusion culling. Let me explain what this means. For starters, you need to know that the Unity game engine processes all objects that are located within the player's field of view. That includes objects that are not really in view because they are hidden behind another object. Let's take the next example. The player looks at a tank. The processor and graphics card will render all elements that are on that tank, but most of the objects are hidden behind others. When the player is standing outside the tank, looking at that tank, he can't see the inside parts. That is where the in-house GPU-based occlusion culling comes into play. Occlusion culling uses the DirectX early depth stencil attribute to accurately determine which objects are visible on the screen in real time, allowing it to cull objects that are not visible. It works for both static and dynamic geometry. This results in reducing the rendering load and smoother gameplay. Another part of the performance optimization update is the periscope refresh option. Starting from update 1.4.0, you'll be able to change the refresh time for the render texture feature in the settings. This feature is used to simulate periscopes inside tanks. There where the setting, real-time refreshing, is excellent for good PCs, there will be a more optimized form to support older GPUs. Everything I covered, up until this point, will get published with the next update. When we go back to the roadmap, we can see that there's also one point in Stage 2 that already got checked, partnerships with real museums. It was the 16th of July 2022, on which the developers announced their partnership with the Museum of Military Technology, GRIF. Thanks to their rich collection of vehicles, exhibits, and documentation, the devs will be able to provide the players with even more detailed models of tanks, or museum collectibles. In Stage 5 we also see a checkmark next to the Vehicle Creator section. The Vehicle, or Tank Creator tool, will give players the ability to create their own modded tanks and attributes. Unfortunately, we will not see this with the next update. The developers needed to push this feature a bit further in time. As of now, the devs do have a working tool that allows them to configure, pack, and upload custom vehicles to the Steam Workshop, but it seems that the finalization is a bit trickier than expected. They also want to provide the players with in-depth documentation, which is needed to understand the processes to fully configure and set up required bits and aspects. And then we arrive at all the things that are still in the planning for the future. In Stage 2 we can see something that is asked for, by the community, for so long. An extended museum, with more slots and rooms. A prop shop is also in the planning. Players will be able to buy props, to decorate their museum with. Available props would be, sandbags, larger stands, barbed wires, anti-tank barriers, masking nets, and much more. Also in Stage 2, we can find more collectibles, as medals, badges, and weapons. In Stage 3, we can find all the stuff, related to the paint room. Decorations, as canisters, helmets, brushes, and more. Along with more upcoming cosmetics, as more camouflages for USA, Germany, USSR, England, and other countries. Also more decals for all those nations. Stage 4 consists of a complete rework of the tutorial. Another important upcoming overhaul is the one for the in-game economics. It appears that the devs also have a sandbox mode on the agenda. In this mode, players would have unlimited money and reputation. Something interesting, related to extraction missions, is coming. We're talking about the ability to set the in-game day and night length. And then, last but not least, we have Stage 5, with one more point on the agenda, the rework of the resupply menu. We're talking about the MG placement, not only through this menu, but as a standard element. And the overhaul of the ammo resupply menu. All the things, shown on this roadmap, should be coming to the players during 2023 and 2024. That is a lot to look forward to. Are you as excited as I am? Let me know in the comments below. Please, do not forget to give this video the thumbs up. Only then, we're giving that YouTube algorithm a kick in the butt.